Good morning, good morning. Good morning. So much happening. So much busy. Wow, yeah, today's been crazy already. And I had a lot to clean off the desk, a lot of poems to find, sort, prepare, ready. Having fun with it though. It's always a very good thing to be able to be hardworking and busting through stuff and just working through the poetry. Man, I feel like I'm out of it. But that is just merely because it has been definitely one of those mornings. So I turn down the lights, a little streaming switch station. There we go. Better lighting always helps with the look. Fool Killer, welcome to the stream. I know that I saw you lurking yesterday a little bit. It's so good to see you. Really great to have you here. Feel free to request a poem if you're so inclined. Otherwise, enjoy the aesthetics as I prepare some poetry for some clients and kind of just work on that. Actively creating on the typewriter, which is not lined up with the camera yet. Let's see here. See if I get this lined up right. What happens? Typewriter camera. There we go. Typewriter. Right here. On the spot. Nice old quiet deluxe. I feel like that we should write a poem about your username. So one of my most fun rituals here, I guess it's called a ritual, is being able to riff off of people's usernames, kind of as a comedic thing. We've had some pretty interesting people with pretty interesting usernames roll into the chat, including now Fool Killer. So I might do that at the end of the stream. But we did start late. I was originally going to be starting at 7. And, well, this just didn't roll in the way that I wanted it to. So I have a couple of poems for commission from a client, which is really exciting. The first poem on our list is a sappy grandchildren poem. I like that. Oh, but we forgot to start with our reading. Goodness, I am still getting the things into gear here. All right, so as always, we read a poem from a poet. I like when I get closer to the camera. I just feel like that this DSLR that I'm working with is a pretty good camera. Hey, Disco, how you doing? Putting the stream together as it's like taking off. It seems to be the vibe for the morning. But we are going to be reading another poem by Pablo Neruda today. To start off our stream, celebrating this Chilean poet whose work is kind of goes a little bit into the moody, but also very profound. I'm making sure that I can see my stream on my phone. It takes a lot to set up everything for a stream. It's pretty crazy. All right. Let's see if that shifts over. Today's poem is entitled "A Dog Has Died." Very, very reflective, it seems. And again, to be clear, I've not read these poems before reading them on the stream. So it's really cool because I get to have a sort of reaction to the poem in real time with you guys. So this is "A Dog Has Died" by Pablo Neruda, translated by Alfred Yankower. My dog has died. I buried him in the garden next to a rusted old machine. Someday I'll join him right there, but now he's gone with his shaggy coat, his bad manners, and his cold nose. And I, the materialist, who never believed in any promised heaven in the sky for any human being. I believe in a heaven I'll never enter. Yes, I believe in a heaven for all dogdom, where my dog waits for my arrival. waving his fan-like tail in friendship. I'll not speak of sadness here on earth, of having lost a companion who was never servile. His friendship for me, like that of a porcupine, withholding its authority, was the friendship of a star, aloof, with no more intimacy than was called for, with no exaggerations. He never climbed all over my clothes, filling me full of his hair or his mange. He never rubbed up against my knee like other dogs obsessed with sex. No, my dog used to gaze at me, paying me the attention I need, the attention required to make a vain person like me understand that, being a dog, he was wasting time. But with those eyes so much purer than mine, he kept gazing at me, with a look that reserved for me alone all his sweet, shaggy life, always near me, never troubling me, and asking nothing. Aye, how many times have I envied his tail as we walked together on the shores of the sea, in the lonely winter of Isla Negra, where the wintering birds filled the sky and my hairy dog was jumping about, full of the voltage of the sea's movement. My wandering dog sniffing away, with his golden tail held high, face to face with ocean spray. Joyful, 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 as only dogs know how to be happy, with only the autonomy of their shameless spirit. There are no goodbyes for my dog who has died, and we don't now and never did lie to each other. So now he's gone, and I buried him, and that's all there is to it. There's a lot in there. I think I said the same thing at the Ode to Tomatoes. Good morning, Bader123. Just saw you pop into the chat. I was just reading Pablo Nereto's A Dog Has Died. I always like to have a poet of the week that I start the streams with, though this stream has started very late this morning. This poem, holy goodness. Yeah, there's a lot in here. Comprehension of joy, focus, but something about it has not set with me yet. This looks like it's the type of poem that I need to read over and over again to really get the understanding of it, but it is not unintelligible in its first read. That there is this sort of roundabout contemplation. I find these end lines to be so intriguing because he just spent stanza after stanza talking about his dog. And yet he comes back to, so now he's gone and I buried him and that's all there is to it. Like it's a punchline. I like that. It's a pretty good punchline. At least that's my first interpretation of the poem. And I'm sure that a more learned poet than me would understand a lot more of the references here in this sight reading. So we will return back to the desk and the writing desk. And I gotta find my streaming. Oh, there we go. We're good. Really good to have you all here. And yeah, any thoughts on that poem? If you wanted to drop them into the chat, otherwise, no worries. It's definitely an intriguing poem. One that I think that I'm going to be sitting with later on today, regardless of whether I want to or not. But yeah. So unless we have any wild, crazy inspiration ideas and requests for poems, I am going to start on this sappy poem about grandchildren. That's the thing with Pablo Neruda, is I don't feel like that he shifts well with my stream. Like I go, a dog has died, and now I'm going to write about grandchildren. It's definitely a rough transition. Not stonks. It's definitely not stonks. So the funny thing is I want to get exactly what she's kind of going for here. So she really wants sappy, and the sappier the better. So very sentimental. Mawkish is a word that dictionary uses to describe sappy, which of course requires I go a little deeper. That like it's seeping with sentimentality. Because sappy is an exaggeration on its own, and then she says the sappier the better. So exaggeration upon it. So it'll just be probably a very nice poem about grandchildren. Not as deep, which is, I think, the tough part for me, because I go to deep immediately. It's like, oh, your grandchildren are like heaven and earth. Well, no, that's not what we're looking for here. I don't know, I don't have ages on these grandchildren. I'm willing to take the risk here and say that they're going to probably be children. That's the point. So they're going to probably be around grade school to middle school age. And I should switch my camera. Here we go. Let's roll into it. 1949 Royal Quiet Deluxe, ready to rock on. Do the same. If I typo that early, I might as well flip the paper around. Third time's a charm. I was going a direction with the poem and I realized the tone would not be good. Fool Killer says, nothing like the magic sound of the typewriter. Indeed. And I still have it on my long list of things I hope to one day do. To try ASMR with the typewriter. On a day. And just pop into the ASMR channels and see how that works. It also is interesting because it's a work of writing in audible form. Like it's a translation of something that people don't realize can be translated. So like if I were to say, what does the work of writing taste like? You wouldn't know what it tastes like. Maybe it tastes like coffee. But like that's so hard to encapsulate work of writing. But the fact is the typewriter as an instrument allows for an audible sensation of the work of writing. The visual sensation of work of writing is words appearing on the page. You can do that on a computer, you can do that anywhere. You can do that writing in a notebook. But the work of writing audibly is only the typewriter. And maybe a printer, maybe the clicking of the keyboard a little bit, but the keyboard doesn't have as much oomph as this. I've been attempting to use my thesaurus more, trying to break open my words. I tend to, for a poet, I would say, I tend to stick to very general descriptions. Fool Killer says, I need to get a thesaurus of my own. There's always a use for a thesaurus in life. Especially. I found that online thesauruses have actually been pretty reliable, very good. The key to a thesaurus, what's funny is I didn't use a thesaurus for years. It's actually one of those things that I should have been using a lot more earlier on, but I was dissuaded by it by a teacher who was not clear with me. The teacher said to me, don't use a thesaurus because you're going to pick a word, you're going to not know what it is. But that's not the right way to look at a thesaurus. You shouldn't just run into a thesaurus and pick a word randomly. Like if I go to the word caper, which I looked up before, and I pick shrub, like that doesn't make sense for what the definition I'm using it. I'm like, that's a, you just got to jump in there. But the great thing about a thesaurus is it will break down by subcategory as the definition. So if a word is sweet, and it could mean more honeyed, or it could be more sugary, or it could be, you know, like there's different levels of that. It will break down sections of synonyms to reflect in practicality what you really mean by the word, because words have multiple meanings. If you are aware of that and you just double check the definition of a word before you actually use it, you're going to be good. There's an app here that I use called Poet Assistant. I just picked a random word. Let's see if it focuses on that. Let's see. There you go. Poet Assistant. It keeps going towards my face. And that is a good app that I use because it is a rhyming dictionary, a thesaurus, a regular dictionary, a random word generator, all in one. So it's pretty good. And now it allows you to star words. I just saw that. So sappy here is tending more towards the stereotypical, you know, just a big, you know, beautiful, loving grandmother that bakes cookies and spoils their grandchildren. Like, that's just the total dressing of this poem. I've gotten a little deep here. Oh yeah, and the app should be free. I'm pretty sure I remember it being free. And that just fixed a lot of things. Man, I've kind of hit a little bit of I don't want to say a rough spot, but like it's coursed its way into what do I do now territory. Children so great. Every dream I ever had. Scramble and frolic through the parlors. Life is one big cookie. You are chocolate chips of delight. It does but gives joy. Every baby kisses. Giving kids everything. Kisses to treat your mother fails and is missing from the kitchen. This is love. There you visit. Give it my all. Seems that I'm dwelling very much towards the food here. Something that rhymes with true story. I usually don't know how I come up with the words. We are almost there. And I don't want to miss the Kira stream. It's already 8:05. Actually, if he starts, we can raid it. I mean, it might just be like a 1 or 2 person raid, but that's okay. He is not started yet. Snacks or playtime, relax, traveling time. What's something? I'm missing something about grandmothers. Oh. Well, there's prayer, but I don't want to presume that. Something about grandmothers. I think grandmothers do. Because what I want to say is that it makes grandmothers feel young again. Is the kicker of the theme, that the grandmother feels like she becomes a grandchild. Traveling time and years rewind. With every visit I give it my all, to pour love like juice, snacks or playtime relax. Traveling time and years rewind, because I always will be the favorite. Oh, that's a sharp claim. That is a sharp claim to claim favoritism. I've already talked about generosity. I've already talked about cookies. I've already talked about... Ooh, this poem is kicking my butt. I mean, a cheap end to this would be that it's kind of related to all grandmothers across time, which is something that I think somebody's already said. Traveling time and years rewind. For you two are the kids inside me. I think that'll hit it. I'll end it on my heart, which is usually kind of a sin of the stream, but I'm doing it because whoa, we have a title problem. I put the top of the poem too close to the top of the page. I think it'll work. If you're just tuning in, I'm typewriting poetry and messing up titles. 13, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It's good. Good. All right. I will read this. Shout out to everybody watching or lurking or tuning in. We're going to be ending soon, as I'll probably be able to run a raid into Akira's channel, which will be really exciting, depending on when Akira starts. This is a wonderfully sappy poem about grandparents, and particularly grandma. I hope that it's okay that I titled it Love Grandma. Well, we'll see. Children so grand every time they stand at my feet. I can't help but see every dream I ever had scamper and frolic through the parlor. If life is one big cookie, you are chocolate chips of delight. Bright flavor. Dessert coarse capers a joy that will never waver. I'll give the kids everything. The hugs and kisses, the treats their mother fails to notice missing from the kitchen. This is love. This is Grandma's house. This is seeing generations double and become big and strong, because every visit I give it my all, to pour love like juice, snacks or playtime relax, traveling time in the years rewind, for you two are kids, always inside my heart. I think that hits it nail on the head. I want to thank everybody that's been here. Really appreciate just the support of you guys being here, checking this out, what I'm doing here. I would be here anyway. It just means a lot to have people that are interested in seeing what I do. And always let me know if there's anything I could do to make this stream better. If you're sitting there going, hey, it'd be really interesting if you did this or that, say it, shout it out. I don't care. I'm not insulted. I want to make this a really good place for everybody. Thank you, Melinda. Thank you so much. We are going to now do a raid to Akira the Dawn. So the musical instrumentals you were hearing were from Akira the Dawn. I say it every stream because I want to make sure that everybody knows they're not mine. He is an awesome streamer, and he is going to be running a DJ set this morning. Usually it's a huge party. Helps me launch into my day as I jump into the crazy productivity of trying to keep the poetry business alive. So let me set up that raid to Accure the Dawn. Okay. Cool. And we are ready to raid. Alrighty. Thank you again so much, everybody, for being here. Thank you for checking out the Poetry Studio. I'll be back again tomorrow morning around 7 a.m., hopefully. And we are about to go warp speed.